Today we're brewing with Alex Ganum at Upright Brewing for the Willamette Week Pro-Am. We're brewing a Southern German wheat beer, aka Weiss beer, aka New England Crystal Weizen, aka hefeweizen, aka hef. The beer we're brewing will be about somewhere around 5% alcohol. It should be cloudy, kind of a yellowish, maybe a little bit of an orange hue to it with the addition of the Munich malt. Should have like a big pillowy head, beautiful kind of banana clove aroma, and hopefully it will be the kind of beer that you just want to pour a big half-liter of and just like guzzle it down. That's kind of what we're going for, something that is just extremely drinkable and really inviting. It's kind of a special version of a beer that John and I have been working on for a really long time. Probably the style of beer that we've brewed the most. And the most exciting part about this whole thing, besides the opportunity to brew with Upright, which is probably our favorite brewery in the state, is that Upright has a series, I believe, of 3 open fermenters. So they're stainless steel fermenters with no tops on them, which means that when you use really expressive yeast strains like the strain we're going to be using in this wheat beer, it gives you this really awesome, almost more pronounced yeast character than you'd get in a vessel that was fermenting under pressure. So that was kind of the impetus for us to hit up Alex, because we were thinking about wanting to brew hef for Pro-Am, and they were the only brewery we could think of in Portland that had an open fermenting system. So we sent Alex an email. He almost immediately replied that he really likes hef, that it was one of his favorite styles of beer, and that he'd love to brew it. It'd be perfect, I believe was the word he used for his open fermenters. So it was kind of serendipitous, I guess. It worked out pretty well. The grain bill for this beer is kind of special as well. We're using 3 different varieties of Mecca Grade malt from Madras. They're a craft maltster. They grow and malt their own barley, wheat, and rye. So we're going to be using their wheat, a little bit of their Pilsner malt, which is made from a malt variety called Full Pint. So it's kind of a Pilsner kiln, and then we're using just a little bit of their darker kind of Munich style malt for a little bit of body. So we would normally step mash this beer, but Alex and Upright don't have a system that can effectively step mash. They have kind of an English style single infusion system. So our way around doing a ferulic acid rest, which gives you kind of more clove when used with this yeast in particular. We did kind of an interesting technique, which is an overnight sour mash. So 10% of the grain bill was put in an insulated vessel overnight and mashed. And the idea is basically that the lactobacillus on the husks of the malt start to grow and eat and get happy at about 114 degrees overnight in this vessel. So essentially it sours overnight. It gives you this really awesome acid character. And then we will pour that back into the main part of the mash when we mash the beer, and so we'll hit basically all of our pH adjustment for the mash and also that really great ferulic acid character in the final beer without doing that first step. So that's interesting. The open fermenting is interesting. The malt is interesting, and it's kind of at least as far as I can tell, it's kind of a typical Upright beer, which is that it's kind of a beer nerd's delight. So it'll be really fun to see how it turns out.
I do think that we got not just the floral notes out of there though, but we got some a little bit of that bubblegum again that I feel like you just don't get when you throw that Bavarian strain through conical tanks. Like it really has that like sweet gum note to it.
That like I get that rose that you're talking about. Like the acid malt, wherever we did the acid rest, the 10%.
Well, a lot of people don't talk about how the hep yeast, I mean, it produces a really nice natural acidity, like some of the really great saison yeast do, and it seems like lost on a lot of folks. Like man, like one of the best parts about hep is that you have this beautiful natural twang.
Yeah, this has that. It's got that like there's some acidity in there from the yeast, and it's kind of that rose, almost that rose quality. I feel like.
I think we found a good balance between the sort of the classic banana note and the spice and the clove. And this, I think, it's not even just like straight clove, but a little bit of sort of pepper, white pepper going on too, so it's not just that like really sharp clove note necessarily.
And because it dried out a little bit more, it's what, like 5.5, 5.25, you think?
Yeah, this one is actually coming in at like I think just 4.7.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes.
That's like perfect.
Yeah, I like it even better when it's like
yeah,
that.
so it feels much more like a German table beer. Something you really can drink at 10 a.m. or at 12 p.m.
I don't really even care about how we do in the competition. I just feel like this turned out really well.
Oh, honestly, like I doubt this will win because, like I said, the modern sort
palate.
of audience right now is like this beer is going to be overlooked by a lot of folks. But I think the people that get it will really, I think, dig it, especially because it does have, I think, a little bit more nuance, or it shows a lot of expression for the yeast, which is probably the really neat thing about it.
Well,
and the malt too.
The whole idea of where it came from and how it was made and all that thing.
I really dig it because, I mean, I think normally in a Weiss beer, like you're really getting the wheat flavor, right? But you taste the barley really distinctly in this also, which I think is pretty neat, especially for only using that pinch of Munich. And I think that the barley flavor isn't just coming from the Munich, like you taste the actual, you know, the pale malt or the Pils malt too.
Yeah.
And I think that's really neat. It's a beautiful malt profile.
It really is. It really is.
Yeah, this Pilsner malt has a little bit of it, like a floral, almost grassy, but not in a bad way character that we've done like a single malt
to that whole like low O2 note you're talking about. Like,
yeah, totally.
There's something that grain complexity,
accentuates.
that grain complexity that adds that like bouquet to the beer that you don't otherwise get. There is a certain amount of like you have to use that Weyermann German malt because that's the character that they get from their terroir in Germany, you know. And this is cool, I think, in that way because it's a little bit of a landmark on where we are in the Oregon brewing community.
Oh yeah,
and the ingredients that we have access to at the highest end, and what we can do when we ferment the right way, the Bavarian way for wheat beer.
It's been going pretty well. There are so many amazing beers here. It's pretty incredible. There's some delicious mild from Zeugel House. There's a strawberry rhubarb saison from Ex Novo. That's incredible. Dean, our fellow Portland Brewers Collective brewer, made an exceptional barrel-aged saison with apricot with Gigantic Brewing. I haven't tried the break side yet, which I'm really still excited to try. There's a hazy IPA from Fort George with sour sap in it that's like blowing my mind. Zeugel House has like probably the best mild I've ever had with hazelnut and cacao nibs. It's pretty awesome day here. Definitely the highest quality of beer I've ever seen at this festival in a couple years. So it's good times, and it's a beautiful day. No clouds in the sky. Just a great like day to drink beer and like chill with home brewers and pro brewers, and it's a really good time.